Why most people stay average and how to break free. They told you to be realistic. They told you not to want too much, not to dream too big, not to step out of line. That playing it safe is wisdom, that being content is virtue, and that average is where peace lives. But that was a lie. Not a malicious lie, a comfortable one. The kind passed down from those who came before, well-meaning, tired souls who traded their fire for stability, who silenced their instincts in exchange for predictability, who were never taught that life wasn't meant to be survived, it was meant to be conquered. Average isn't peace, it's a slow death of what could have been. Average is not a failure of intelligence. It's not a lack of opportunity. It's the byproduct of choosing comfort over courage, of silencing the voice within that says, there's more, and replacing it with excuses dressed up as logic. But the truth is simple. Most people stay average because they never fully decide not to be. They hope, they wish, they even try, but they don't decide. Because a true decision is a line in the sand, a vow that says, no matter how long it takes, I will not die with this greatness locked inside me. And that decision, it doesn't live in words. It lives in action, in obsession, in the fire that wakes you up before the sun and keeps you grinding long after the world has gone to sleep. Because let's be honest, the average life is engineered for distraction. From the moment you wake up, you're bombarded with noise, opinions, fears, trends, obligations, endless scrolling through lives you'll never live. And so you drift, one day to the next, a little less inspired, a little more numb, until your spark becomes a memory. But the giants of history, they made a different choice. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb because he was smarter than the rest. He just refused to quit after failing 1,000 times. Henry Ford wasn't born with an engine in his hands. He simply obsessed with a vision no one else believed in. Abraham Lincoln was not polished, wealthy, or powerful. He was broken, beaten, doubted, yet unshakable in his purpose. What made them great wasn't luck, connections, or even talent. It was hunger, a relentless, burning hunger to rise above the noise, to silence the world and listen to that deeper calling that whispers, you were made for more. But here's the truth no one wants to say. Being great will cost you. It will cost you your comfort, your weekends, your distractions. It will cost you your old identity, the one addicted to doubt, addicted to ease. It will demand sacrifice, isolation, the death of your excuses. But what you gain is worth everything. Because the day you decide to break free, truly decide, is the day you stop negotiating with your potential. It's the day you stop asking for permission and start living on purpose. That's what separates the extraordinary from the average. Not resources, not privilege, not even education, but resolute. An unshakable resolute to rise, even if you fall, to fight, even if you lose, to become, even when no one believes you can. The world won't hand you greatness. It will test you for it. It will place walls in your path, storms in your mind, doubt in your heart, and it will watch to see if you crumble. But those walls, they're not punishment, they're proof. Proof that you are on a path worth walking. Because if it didn't challenge you, it wouldn't change you. And if it didn't demand everything from you, it wouldn't give you anything real in return. So ask yourself right now, deeply, honestly, are you truly ready to break free? Not just to dream it, not just to speak it, but to commit down to your bones to becoming something more than average. Because average isn't an outcome, it's a habit. And so is greatness. Then you must begin with the one thing average people fear the most: Clarity. Clarity is dangerous because once you see the truth of who you are and who you could become, you can no longer hide. You can no longer pretend that your life is the way it is because of luck or fate or timing. Clarity eliminates your excuses. It burns through the fog of distraction and leaves you face to face with one question. Are you willing to become who you were born to be? Not the version society packaged for you, not the one molded by fear, expectation, or obligation, but the real you, the one buried under layers of doubt, waiting for the fire to rise. See, average people avoid clarity because clarity leads to responsibility. When you see your potential clearly, you are forced to act. To live blindly is easy. To live awake takes courage. You must sit in the silence and ask the hard questions. What am I here to do? What legacy do I want to leave? What pain am I willing to endure in exchange for greatness? And once those answers come, whispered from the deepest parts of your soul, you will have a choice. Chase them relentlessly or betray yourself again. And that betrayal, that's what eats away at people. It's not the failures, it's not the losses, it's the quiet ache of knowing you never went all in. That you lived your entire life on mute, letting the volume of the world drown out your inner voice. But clarity, once embraced, leads to vision. And vision is the birthplace of all power. Every monument man has ever built, every movement that changed history, every innovation that reshaped the world, it all started with a vision. A single, defiant image held in the mind of someone who refused to let go. Walt Disney saw an empire of imagination while others saw a bankrupt cartoonist. Martin Luther King Jr. saw equality while the world still lived in chains. Elon Musk saw rockets landing backwards while everyone else mocked the math. Vision is a dangerous thing in the hands of the relentless because once you see it, it becomes more real than the obstacles in front of you. But vision alone is not enough. You must marry it with discipline. And this is where most people retreat back to the average, because the dream is beautiful, but the discipline is brutal. Discipline is doing what you said you would do long after the mood has left you. It's waking up early when your bed whispers sweet lies. It's showing up, grinding, building, failing, adjusting, pushing again and again and again until the world begins to bend to your will. Discipline isn't sexy, it doesn't get applause, but it is the chisel that carves destiny out of stone. Most people think success is a single act, one big moment, one lucky break, but true success is boring consistency. It's the reps no one sees, the hours logged in silence, the work done with no applause, no recognition, no promise, only the inner knowing that your moment will come. You will not rise by intensity alone. You rise by endurance, and endurance is built in the trenches of discipline. And once that discipline becomes part of your bloodstream, action becomes inevitable. Because action is the bridge between dreams and reality. It is the great divider, the executioner of average. You cannot think your way into a new life. You must act your way into one. No plan is perfect, no timing is flawless, but average people wait. They wait for clarity, confidence, guarantees. They wait for signs, for mentors, for miracles. But the greats? They move. They move when they're scared. They move when they're unsure. They move because motion creates momentum, and momentum creates miracles. You do not need to see the whole path. You only need to take the next step. And then the next, and then the next, until the life you once dreamed of becomes the ground beneath your feet. But don't mistake motion for noise. You must act with intention, with focus, with urgency. Every step must aim toward the vision. Because average people are busy too, but busy is not the same as building. Your time is your sword. Wield it wisely. But even with clarity, vision, discipline, and action, there is one force that separates the truly unstoppable from the temporarily motivated: belief. Belief is the spine of greatness, the silent engine that drives men and women through firestorms. Without belief, all effort collapses. Without belief, action becomes hollow. Discipline dries up. Vision fades into fantasy. And belief doesn't come from outside. It isn't given, it must be built. Like steel in a forge, belief is hammered into place through every moment you choose faith over fear. Every time you act when it doesn't make sense. Every time you keep going when the world tells you to quit. Most people stay average because they outsource their belief. They believe in the economy, in their boss, in the news, in the opinions of friends who gave up on their own dreams. They believe in failure, in struggle, in limitation. They believe the world is fixed, that success is for the lucky, and that greatness is for the chosen. But belief, real belief, is forged by you. It is a decision, a violent rejection of doubt, a declaration that says, I will not be counted among the mediocre. And once belief is rooted, purpose is revealed. Because belief clears the fog, it aligns your soul. And suddenly, your work is no longer just about money or applause or winning, it's about something bigger. Purpose is what makes pain worth it. Purpose is what turns suffering into sacrifice. When you know why you're doing this, why you're pushing, why you're bleeding, why you're grinding while others sleep, you stop quitting. And let me be clear, your purpose doesn't have to be grand or poetic or fit into a quote on a wall. It just has to be yours. For some, it's to break generational curses. For others, it's to create a life for their children they never had. For some, it's to prove, if only to themselves, that they were always capable of more. Whatever it is, own it, breathe it. Let it be the fire that never goes out. Because when you live with purpose, setbacks don't destroy you. They refine you. See, that's another reason most people stay average. They run from pain. But pain is the gatekeeper to every worthwhile thing in this life. Ask anyone who has ever built something extraordinary, pain was their companion. Michael Jordan didn't just practice because he liked it, he practiced because he was obsessed. And obsession hurts. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company before coming back to change the world. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison and emerged a leader. They all tasted pain, but they never let it define them. They used it. They turned their wounds into wisdom, their scars into steel. And you can too. But only if you stop asking, how can I avoid pain, and start asking, what is this pain trying to make of me? Because when you flip that question, everything changes. Obstacles become teachers. Failures become maps. Doubt becomes fuel. And this is the shift, the rare shift that moves you from average to unstoppable. But there's still one more piece, one force so rare, so misunderstood that most people ignore it entirely. Gratitude. Not the passive kind, not the surface level thank you kind, but the fierce kind, the kind that finds beauty in the storm. The kind that says, I'm grateful for this pain, this test, this grind, because I know what it's building in me. Gratitude is power. It keeps your soul alive while your body aches. It gives meaning to the middle. It reminds you that the struggle is not punishment, it's preparation. The truly great are not just hungry, they are thankful. They are thankful for the fight, for the lessons, for the days that feel like failure, because they know those days are where strength is forged. Gratitude is what keeps you from becoming bitter, from becoming entitled, from losing the humility that anchors your rise. Because the moment you lose gratitude, you start taking shortcuts. You start chasing validation. You start focusing on how fast you're moving instead of where you're going. But when you're grateful, you stay grounded. You rise with joy. You endure with grace. You inspire without ego. And that's the paradox. The more grateful you are, the more powerful you become. Because no one can stop a soul that's thankful for both the battle and the blessing. Yes. Let's bring this to its final crescendo. Because now that the seed of greatness has been stirred in you, There is only one question left echoing in your soul. Will you rise? Not halfway, not when it's easy, not when the world approves, but will you rise when it's hard? When your hands bleed, when your voice shakes, when no one claps? Will you rise when the only fuel you have is belief and belief alone? Because the truth, the raw, unforgiving truth, is that most people won't. They'll live cautiously, quietly, conveniently. They'll shrink to fit inside the mold their surroundings handed them. They'll nod, smile, play along, exist. But you were never built for that, and you've always known it. Deep down, beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the years of compromise, there has always been a flicker of defiance, a flicker that said, I'm here for something more. That flicker is not imagination. It is not fantasy. It is your truth pounding against the cage of average. And today is the day you unlock it. You don't need another book, another seminar, another permission slip. What you need is to remember who you are. You are the product of thousands of years of survivors, warriors, dreamers, builders, kings, inventors, fighters, leaders, souls who refuse to die quietly. Their blood runs in your veins. Their courage beats in your chest. You are not just here to pay bills and scroll endlessly and disappear. You are here to rise. To build something that outlives you, to love fiercely, to think boldly, to walk with honor and purpose, to take this brief miracle of existence and light it on fire. And when the world tries to pull you back, because it will, when it tells you to calm down, to conform, to be humble, to stay in your lane, you must look it in the eye and say, I did not come here to be average. Say it until you believe it. Say it until your bones ache with it. Say it until you're too far gone to go back to small thinking. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too old, too young, too late, too early. You are ready. And the very fact that you've made it this far, that you've endured what you have, that you've carried all this weight and still stand tall, means one thing. Your best is not behind you. It is in front of you. It is waiting for you to burn the boats, to shut every exit, to lock in and rise with the full force of your spirit. No more someday. No more hesitation. No more almost. The door is open. But you must walk through it. You must decide that average is no longer your home. That you will not die with your potential buried inside you. That you will bleed, sweat, fall, and rise again because something inside you is greater than the life you've settled for. This is your time. This is your hour. This is your line in the sand. The world doesn't owe you greatness. You owe it to yourself. Now rise and never look back.